Oh, that's easy, man. Go Cats. Let's go.
Welcome, everybody, to the R&R Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome back, Bobcat fans. Thorny here, as Foley is traveling to Montana, so I'm flying solo here for tonight. But good news for you, you only have to listen to me for about a minute or so. All I'm doing is introducing the interview that we conducted last night with Jody Owens, all-time Bobcat legend linebacker. We sat down with Jody to chat about his playing days at MSU and what he's been up to since his graduation. So without further ado, here's our interview with Jody Owens.
Right now, we have the special guest, Jody Owens, former Bobcat great, taking some time tonight to join us on a conversation. Jody, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Ryan. I'm glad you guys invited me. I'm glad you're having me on tonight.
Oh, man, the privilege is all ours. We were talking a little bit before we started recording just how big a fans we were of your playing days at MSU. So we just, really appreciate you taking some time to come on and join our little podcast here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, any chance I get to be a part of Bobcat Nation and to give back in any kind of way, whether it's insight or whatever. I mean, I miss Bobcat Nation, so I think I'm more excited than you guys are, honestly.
Well, at the time we're recording this, it's a real unique time in our nation, and something that Ryan and I don't have as much as insight as you would. And I know we were talking prior to just hitting record here, and I was going to ask maybe just that you could just give us some of your thoughts on what's going on right now.
Yeah, so it's a unique, time in our nation. And I think I kind of have a unique perspective. I know, just to give you guys a quick background, my mom, she's a Dallas police officer, and she was a single mom growing up. She had me at 15. And, so we've been able to work our way through and be able to, my mom is now like 15-year vet of the Dallas Police Department. And I know we're all probably aware or should be aware of some of the recent events that occurred in Minnesota. And so I just want to just give my thoughts and just ways that we can be better, not only for Bobcat Nation, but for our country. I know that just my experience going all the way to Bozeman, Montana, about 24 hours away, I think I experienced a lot. And I know for 100% fact that there were times where, not the nicest things were said to me, during my time there. And I don't think it's always happens with ill intent. I think there's a lot of ignorance that comes with that. And I understand that. And so I just challenge, Bobcat Nation, everybody who can hear this, is that like when you hear people degrade other people, when they use those words that shouldn't be used, and we all know what I'm talking about, the N word and all those things that are not, the correct language and how to treat somebody. I just ask you just to step up and say, man, that's not how things should be done. I want to use, my platform to let people know that, we're all humans at the end of the day. I bleed just like you do. I know some of you guys may think I'm Superman because I was able to hit people hard on the field, but I'm a person just like you. I have feelings, I have emotions, and I'm speaking for myself, but this is for everybody, whether you're black, white, Indian, whatever. We all have feelings. So just be cognizant of those things and how you can make people feel. And I think you need to have those tough conversations with people that that may think racism is okay, because it's not. And I want you guys to know, Bobcat Nation, I'm always behind you guys, and I respect the heck out of you. And I want this world to be a better place for my son. If I can move it in the right direction so that he has equal opportunities and he's able to do some of the awesome things, I want to be able to afford him that opportunity. So that's kind of why I'm speaking out. And I think it's time for a change in America. And let's, get on board and let's do things the right way. So I appreciate you guys listening to my little tidbit.
No, appreciate you speaking your mind on that. It's such an easy thing to do for me, just to treat other people like everyone else. Like I just don't personally understand how that can happen, but
Yeah.
that's just how I feel about it. That's how I was raised like in the Lutheran, just kind of the golden rule type thing. So I just don't understand. And yeah, we all
Yeah.
need to be better though. And that's a great message.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys allowing me to do it, and hopefully it doesn't ruffle any feathers. Hopefully everybody just have a listening ear. That's kind of my biggest thing. Just listen, and we all probably know somebody. Just listen to them. I'm sure you will learn something. And I know just being a lifelong learner, like I aspire to be. I think if we all can have a similar mindset, we'll definitely be great at making this place better.
Yeah. Thank you, Jody. It's something that I enjoyed listening to it, and it just, I think, as for me and for many of us, I think that's a good posture to have, is just listen, learn, be kind-hearted, just go forward with, like you said, what I heard you say, you want to have a better world for your son, and
Exactly.
Ryan and I have sons. I mean, I have two sons. Ryan has a son and a daughter, and I'm watching the news this week, and it's just, geez, I can't put in words in that, and so it's an important message to hear and something we can work on for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. That's big time to for you guys just to hear me. I thank you for that.
You bet. All right, Ryan, why don't you run down some of Jody's accolades as a player as we kind of move this conversation into some football talk.
Sure. Jody Owens was a linebacker for the Bobcats from 2009 to 2012. I'm sorry, I need to back that up. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. So I redshirted the 2008 season.
2008. Yeah.
So yeah, they beat up on me a lot on the scout team. They got me ready to go, and so I played from 2009 all the way to 2012 was my last season. So those 4 years.
All right. I couldn't remember if you were played as a true freshman. Sorry about that. But yeah,
No problem.
2009, your first year playing, you were honorable mention Big Sky, just your freshman year. In 2010, the same thing. In 2011, you're unanimous first team All Big Sky, second team All American, and then in 2012, you were named the Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year, the preseason as well as the preseason 2012 Defensive Player of the Year,
Woo.
consensus first team All American, unanimous first team All Big Sky, and maybe most important to you, team captain, capping off a great career where you would finish currently your 8th in the history on career tackles for the Bobcats. So one heck of a career, and it's just a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh man, I forget a lot of those things. I think, like you said, the team captain is the best piece of it for me. And just I miss my guys. I know I talk with them a lot, during this time this extra time, and that's what I take most from it. The accolades are nice, and I did want to leave a mark on MSU history. I was able to do a lot of those things, but what I cherish most is the time spent in the locker room and laughing and just getting to know each other. Those are the things I cherish with me and the different experiences that we were able to go through and grow through.
Can you tell us your recruiting story? Kind of like, how did you end up at Montana State?
Yeah, okay, I can do that. So a guy by the name of Justin Gaines. I don't know if you guys have ever met Justin Gaines, but he was the guy responsible for recruiting a lot of us Texas guys up there to Bozeman, Montana. And the weird thing about it is Justin Gaines is actually a Grizz. So Coach Gaines played on. Didn't the Grizz win in 2001? Did they win the national championship? No, 95. Was it
I think it was
95?
2001 and 95, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And so one of those years, he was on the team. He played cornerback. He's from Niceville, Florida. You guys should research him. But so he played for that other team. We won't even mention those guys because they don't even deserve it.
Yeah.
But he played on that other team. He won a national championship, but he knew, you know, Texas had a lot of talent that was getting overlooked. I know, me personally, I had the military schools that were really recruiting me, and then from there, I had a couple FCS schools kind of sniffing around. But Montana State came in and pulled the trigger. I know South Dakota State was sniffing around a little bit. Montana State came in and pulled the trigger. If you met Coach Gaines, you know he's a used car salesman. He told me there wouldn't be any wind in Bozeman, Montana. It was in a valley, and that the wind was blocked by mountains on both sides. So I truly believe that. In my experience, as soon as I came off the airplane, it was a lot of wind in my face. So I was a little skeptical, and it was a lot of snow. It was my first time seeing snow when I came up to Bozeman. But the thing that I fell in love with the place was because of the people. I could feel that the people genuinely cared about me. They knew a lot about me. They knew my mom, and they just were so welcoming of me and all those things. And I know my whole deal when I wanted to go to school, I wanted to go where football mattered. I didn't want to be, a second fiddle to anyone, and Bozeman just fit that to me exactly. It was under new staff under Coach Ash, and I know Coach Ash promised me two things. I know as he was recruiting me, he told me that I will graduate, which I did, and he told me we would win championships, which he did. And so I respect Coach Ash to the utmost, and I'm just so thankful to be a Bobcat. And I bleed blue and gold through and through, and that will never change.
Well, real quick here, Justin Gaines, living proof that it's never too late to make a change for the better.
Yeah, exactly. He tries to play the fence. Whoever wins, that's it. He'll call me and talk noise, about whoever wins. But see, here lately, he's been, all bobcatted out. So, you got to watch him a little bit. Try to ride the fence a little bit.
But you were one of the first guys from that Texas pipeline that was opened up. Must have been by Justin Gaines. Then I would imagine players like got Everett Gilbert, of course. You got Denarius McGee, maybe C.J. Palmer, Darius Jones. That's just guys that just kind of come to mind that were really part of those late 2000s, early 2010 squads.
Exactly, for sure. I mean, I think you hit those guys right on the head with that.
Do you just have like a kind of a special bond with the other guys that came in from Texas with you?
Oh, definitely. I mean, a lot of those guys were my best men, my wedding, my groomsmen, all of that. I mean, we definitely connected, and we had the similar upbringings, and we were able to go to Montana State and really rewrite the history books, the record books. We're the all-time winningest class and a very historic university that's played a lot of big-time football. So something we take pride in, and our ability to come together and do what it still hasn't been done since we left, and that's win our conference and really put Montana State on the map on a national level.
All right. Well, I mean, those guys you played with from Texas, I mean, some of those are some all-time greats. But when I start thinking back to your career, Jody, 2009 was the very first time I remember seeing you play. And I think we have a clip from a pretty important game that might jog your memory.
Okay.
I pulled this from a video on YouTube, so don't mind the music.
Higgins has the snap. Pitch to the left to Bolin. Bolin is strung out to the outside and stopped at the 7-yard line.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
It gave me chills a little bit. Yeah. It gave me chills. For sure. I think that was a turning point in, Bobcat football. We kind of got over the hump when we were able to beat those guys down in Ogden, wasn't it? We were down in Ogden, Utah.
It sure was.
So, yeah, the Cats were playing the number 11 Weber State Wildcats in Ogden. And when you see that play, Jody, what I see is you just busting through the middle. And, Cameron Higgins optioned out to Bo Bolin there. And fourth down. And I remember when you guys, Mikey Ryder comes in, right, and helps you secure the tackle. And I I run outside my door because I'm so stinking happy. I'm visiting my parents in Great Falls, Montana, and I'm yelling outside, and I scared this little old lady on the street, and she looks at me like, well, "What are you doing?" And I was so happy. And you're right. I love that you said it was a turning point for Bobcat football, and I just kind of wanted to talk to you about this play forever. Like, what do you remember about that play?
I just remember we needed a play and just understood the situation that we were in. And I don't know if coach put me on a blitz or what it was, but I saw an opening. I read what they wanted to do, and I said, I better just go full speed and try to make something happen. And so I just remember, like you said, Mikey was right there with me. And I mean, and we stopped him and we were just like ecstatic. I believe Fletcher probably was right around in the area as well. And just excited, man. We felt ourselves get over the hump. Like that was the play, to help us secure that win, and that gave us the confidence to, although we didn't win a conference that year, from that point on, I mean, it was like, okay, we know what it takes to be the top team in this league, and this is what we're going to do.
What we talked about a lot last season on the podcast was Coach Choate, like what's going to be the turning point for the program? Where's that pivotal play you can kind of point to where we really turn the program? Like under the Ash era, that was the play we would point to. Like that was just kind of where things really took off for the Cats, and then, yeah, obviously 2010 to 2012, like unprecedented success for the Bobcats during that time. So that was definitely the play that really, like you said, was just pivotal, and you can just see the post game interview that everyone felt it, like you said, and it was just a really cool moment for the Bobcats.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I think that was it. And so I don't think I don't think we ever lost to Weber any other time while I was in college. So that kind of goes to show what it did. And, Weber was a really good team. They always had tough guys, but we were able to beat them, and that became the standard. I mean, we knew we had to beat those guys if we wanted to be who we wanted to be, and that's to be champions. So.
It was kind of a real weird stat here. I remember the Bobcats beat Weber in Ogden for like 10 straight trips. It was like a span of like 20 years or something. It finally was snapped, I think, maybe a couple years ago, but it was from like 96 to like 2016 or something. The Bobcats won every game
Really?
in Ogden. Yeah.
Wow, that is a weird stat. I mean, I guess it's not a tough place to play. Their fans are not into it like that. But anytime you're, not at home,
It's a
you
road
usually
victory.
have a little lag. Yeah, for sure.
Well, thinking back to that 2009 defense, I mean, that's when you really got your start. There's some special players on that defense. What do you remember about that defense?
I remember we played a lot of cover two, and we let Dane Fletcher just get after the quarterback. So he's the guy that I distinctively remember. He was awesome to work with. And I mean, he kind of just showed me the ropes of what it looked like to be a special player and an elite player. And he really kind of took me under his wing. I tried to mock him in different things of how he approached the game. That would be the biggest thing I remember. I remember Kevin Retoriano, who I think is one of the most underrated players in Bobcat history. His selflessness that he showed throughout his career. I know his junior year he was first team all conference as a junior, and then his senior year he goes and plays corner, and he was second team all conference. But I mean the guy didn't dang near give up a pass, and just a selflessness. I don't think he gets the respect that he truly deserves. You have Dan Ogden, who never wanted to work out, but he was one of the greatest D linemen that I've ever, strapped it up with. I mean, I can go on and on with the guys I was able to play with. It was definitely a special group. I know we were the number one defense in the Big Sky that year, and we kept it simple and allowed everybody to play fast.
We had Corey Nickel on last year before the Cat
Okay.
Grease game, and I think he said something to the effect that he thinks Kevin Retoriano was like the best cornerback he ever played with.
Yeah, man. Kevin was so underrated, and I don't understand why everybody didn't see it. He's one of the most cerebral players I've ever been around. Like, I would ask Kevin, we would call him Retro. Like, I would ask Retro, like retro, what are they going to do out of this formation? He'd be like, oh, you need to expect this and this. And that's what we'll see 95% of the time. Like, he was just so dialed in, and he wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the biggest, but he would always be in the right spot. And when the play was there to be made, he was going to make it. And so he actually mentored Deontay Flowers when Deontay was coming out. A lot of people don't know that. When Deontay was coming out, he ended up going and working out with Retro during that time before to get him ready. Now, I'm not saying that had everything to do with the success Deontay had, but Retro was the man. That kind of goes back to say that. And I want Bobcat Nation to know it. And we definitely need to, respect him when they see him. Like, hey, Kevin, we know that you're a guy for us, for sure. I talked to him like last week sometime.
Next guest on the podcast.
Yeah, or maybe we can maybe we can tag him on this one, Thorny.
Yeah, that'd be good. Retro, man, that's my guy.
Well, you had a storied career at Montana State, and I mean, we need to get into some other stuff besides 2009. Let's just, I mean, we could talk 2009. I'd be glad to do so, but one of the questions we have is just kind of a ballpark question: is do you have a favorite game you played at your time at MSU? Does one of them stick out above the rest?
I probably would say 2010 in Missoula.
Yeah,
that was pretty big. I know the forced fumble on the goal line, and what's crazy about that play, I feel like it happened again. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. It was similar around the same part of the field and to win the game, and those guys are driving to go up. But I think it goes to show the resiliency and the heart that Bobcats have, that never give up mentality. But I think that game was like it was cold. It was snowing. It's the coldest I've ever been. The Grizzly fans were loud and obnoxious like they are. And, it was just an old school football game. Arenzo Davis was running the rock just right at him. And we had to stop the run. I know Chase Reynolds had the long run on the first play. He touched the ball. He takes off on us. And I'm like, oh, man, it's going to be a long day. We settle down and we just get after those guys. And so I think that really, was something because they didn't want us to wear our jerseys. You can't wear your throwback jerseys.
Was that the gold ones, the all gold ones?
Yeah, they were terrible, but we wanted to wear them.
But we wanted them.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't want us. They didn't give us the opportunity to wear. They said we had to wear whatever jersey. So we had so much more built up animosity towards those guys. So it was nice to be able to pull out the win. It was my first time beating the Grizzlies. So that was probably my favorite game. I mean, I had a couple other games that were fun. The New Hampshire game, was it 2011 or 12? Whenever we played those guys, probably the best game of my life. Everything just clicked for me that game, but just to throw out a few.
Yeah, I remember that 2010 Cat Grizz game real quick. I believe that was the game where Arenzo Davis had that ridiculous run where he was like hit pretty square on by Jimmy Wilson, like way off on the right side, spun out of it, and somehow weaved his way into the end zone for like a 25-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, I've never seen nothing like that. And I know what's funny, Coach Wright and I work for Coach Wright here at Pittsburgh State, and we talk about that game and that run as well because it was like, wow, like it was just awesome atmosphere and how everything kind of came together.
Speaking of that, who was the hardest guy that you had to tackle from maybe the Big Sky Conference?
Tywan Jones. That's easy.
Yeah, he's pretty fast. He was a little fast.
Yeah, Tywan. He was just ridiculous, and the thing that what made Tywan, so tough to tackle was he was unorthodox. His like the way he tried to shake you, it didn't have a pattern. He wasn't like a 1-2 cut guy or 1-2-3, so you couldn't really like figure him out. Like the way his knees and body moved, it was just so different. And so he gets you in the open field, it's like good luck. I know there's a picture somewhere of me. I know we were playing down there, up there in Cheney, and he gave me something nasty, and I'm just like reaching for his legs, and he like takes it for 70, and I'm like, oh man, that's not gonna look good. So without a doubt, Tywan Jones, man, I thought he was a beast. He was tough to play against.
Yeah. Well, you guys got him though. I mean, that's one of the best Bobcat games I've seen in the stadium there. I
Yeah.
remember Zach Minner taking it to the house off a deflection there, and that was a fun
Oh, yeah.
game.
Yeah, it was. We ended up beating those guys that year. I think it was like 30-7 or something.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's when they won the national championship, which is crazy. We were the only team to beat them.
Yep. I remember that well. I remember Tywan Jones got knocked out of the game because he leaped over a guy and then got crushed on the sideline.
Yeah. I mean, the game plan was we have to stop Tywan, stop him at all costs. Whatever we can do, hit him hard. Like we were talking noise to him, laying on him. We were just really wanting him to feel us because we knew if we could get him out of the game, we had a fighting chance. And as a result, I mean, he got knocked out. And from that point on, we were good. We could take a deep breath and, just play ball from that point on.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. One of the things I really wanted to kind of probe you on is your time playing Sam Houston State. I know you played them twice. And
yeah.
So it's kind of like a two-part question, man. Is like, did you take it personally not being recruited by Sam Houston State, or if you were not going there, and like, how did that feel you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I don't know if I took it personally with those guys, but I know I had guys that were from the same area that I knew. I knew a lot of guys on that team, and just me being competitive, I knew that I was going to, have to come home, and I'm just such a competitor. I wanted to be able to say I kicked your butt. And so that's kind of more than anything, just I wanted to have those bragging rights over those guys. And so I know the first year we go down there, and I think they really caught us by surprise. I don't think their speed was a telltale thing for us. Like sometimes they got the ball on the edges, and I think we were outnumbered a little bit from time to time from a defensive perspective. And if you go back and watch the game, I don't want to throw. I forced a fumble in that game, and I didn't get it. They didn't give it to me, so I'm still mad about that. That could have changed the game. But yeah, those guys were good. They were very talented, well coached. Coach Willie Fritz, who's coaching at Tulane now, he did an excellent job of getting those guys to buy in, and they recruited well. They had some very talented pieces. So I have to give my hats off to those guys, even though I wanted those bragging rights, and I know I still talk to a lot of those guys, Darnell Taylor and Darius. They were twins that I grew up with. But I mean, yeah, that's one that I wish I could play over and over again until I win, of course.
Yeah, those ones didn't go quite the way us fans wanted, of course. But, I think Sam Houston State went to the finals both years that we lost to them, or at least one of the two. I know that.
They did. They went both.
They were quite a good team there. I want to ask you one question that I've been wanting to ask somebody that we've had on the show who has won the award, and I'm not entirely sure what it is necessarily, what it means. Maybe you could give, it's like a two-part question. Can you give us a brief overview of what the Chuck Carnop Award is and what it meant to you to win it in 2011?
I believe that was an award just off of toughness. I think that's kind of what I believe it's a coach's award, if I'm not mistaken. And it's based on just toughness, whoever they think is a tough guy. And I think the reason why I received that award is because my junior year, I played with a torn meniscus throughout the whole year. I think I tore it against Sacramento State on the screen. I tore it. And then from that point on, I think I had like 4 or 5 games that I played on it. And then during the off season, so after my junior year, during that off season, I ended up I was training on one leg and I tore cartilage behind my other knee. And this is after, I just got a surgery from my meniscus. And then I basically had both knees that were, all screwed up that I had to have surgery on. And so that's why I think the coaches kind of felt sorry for me a little bit. And They gave me the award. That's what I would say. It's nothing that I would say I did spectacular. I just wanted to be there for my teammates.
Well, that is spectacular in my book, for sure. Okay, so after your graduation, after your playing days in Bozeman, you ended up back in Bozeman on the coaching staff in 2015. What was it like just being back in Bozeman?
Man, it was good. I think Coach Ash really the position that he gave me as a linebackers coach was I honestly had no business being a linebackers coach just from experience point of view. I don't know if I wouldn't say I was necessarily ready for that, but I know he was really wanting to groom me into that position. He saw something in me. So again, I respect Coach for that, for seeing something in me, to know that, I would give everything I got. And that's, all that I did. I gave those guys everything that I had every day. I mean, it was fun being back in Bozeman, but it was also tough. I mean, I wasn't out in the community as much as I wanted to be. And I wasn't really able to make the biggest impact that I possibly could, because I'm such a competitor, man. And when I lose, I don't take it lightly. So I wasn't going out or anything. I wasn't being seen. It was like, how can I get these guys better? And I mean, I'm just tough on myself in that way. So that's one thing I kind of take from it. It was a tough season. I wish I could go back and do it again, and maybe I would change a few things, but it all happens for a reason. I want Bobcat Nation to know that Coach Rob Ash is the man. Like of course, and I'm biased, of course, and I don't think the all-time winningest coach. He had one losing season and gets kicked out. I mean, I'm kind of rambling, but I didn't think it was fair, but. Peter Fields, who I still talk to this day, he thought it was the best decision for the program, and Coach Cho is doing a heck of a job with the program. So maybe it was the right move. So it was just tough to go through. Been my first year coaching college football, to get fired and feel like my school, my university didn't want me, because I mean that's basically what happened. I wasn't retained. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough situation, but I'm so glad that you said those things about Ash, because I was a big Ash fan, and it's so easily forgotten just how dominant and how winning the program was under his helm. And like you said, one bad season. I'm not going to get into whether I think he should have been let go or not, and that's just a whole nother thing. But he just deserves some respect and some accolades for what he accomplished, for sure.
Definitely, like Coach was like, we got to remember where he took the program from. There was a lot of sketchy things going on, and before he got there, and he got a lot of guys to do the right thing. We were present in the community, and we won the most games ever in school history. So I don't know how much more you can honestly ask. I think in a sense he outgrew himself a little bit. He set the standard so high for himself that when he didn't have that 1 year that he couldn't get to it, it was kind of seen as, okay, it's time to make a change. It was a year removed from the playoffs. So
Yeah,
it was just tough, But hey, that's life, right? Life is tough.
it's kind of a tough business sometimes.
It is. But
You mentioned some of the things that you wish you could have done better. It reminds me, as being a teacher, you think back to your first couple of years of teaching, and you just you put your face on your, or you put your hand on your face, and you just kind of shake your head, go, how did you not screw everything up? And so, but yeah,
exactly.
there's a lot of sleepless nights, because like you, I was really motivated to make sure that I was just giving it my all, like you said. And I think that's a good way of going about it. But
Yeah.
you also spent some time over in Washington, the University of
Mhm.
Washington, and we're getting kind of close to the end of these football questions for you. But I kind of wanted to know. I mean, the connections between University of Washington and Montana State are kind of widespread right now. Obviously,
For
Keen
sure.
Ione going over there, and Coach Cho, coming from that background as well. So, what makes University of Washington a good model for Montana State?
Well, I guess first I would have to tell Coach Cho, which I mean I've told him, but I mean I guess publicly say that Coach Choate was the reason why I was able to get the job at Washington during my time there. So I'm very thankful for him for letting Coach Peterson and those guys know that I was a young coach that wanted an opportunity, and I certainly received that. So I'm thankful for that. But I think just to answer your question, in Seattle in general, those people are so forward thinking. They're always on the cutting edge of everything. And they're just so just like driven, just with all the startup companies and all those things. I think it bleeds into the university a little bit and into the football program, down to how they taught tackling at the University of Washington, which I know Coach Ione is, bringing some of those same things that we both learned together from the University of Washington. I think those are some of the parallels that I see, like with people in Bozeman. I feel that just the community as a whole in Bozeman, they want to, move things forward and be progressive. And I think those are the things that stand out between University of Washington and University and Montana State University. So that's kind of what I would kind of hang my hat on with that.
So I want to ask you a quick question about just, where are you now? Like, what are you up to now? Just for our listeners here.
Yeah, so I'm the co-defensive coordinator here at Pittsburgh State. I'm here with Coach Wright, who I mentioned earlier, who was the offensive coordinator from 2010, I want to say, to 2011 or 12. Coach Wright was with us, and he's coming from the University of Toledo. Before he left Bozeman, he went to Florida Atlantic. I know some guys probably know him, so he hired me to be his co-defensive coordinator and linebackers coach. So I just got here in January. So I'm excited to be a part of a historic program. It honestly reminds me a lot of Montana State, the support, how the community gets behind their program, and that's why I'm excited to be here. So hopefully we get some Bobcat fans to tune in and watch the Gorillas from time to time, and hopefully we can be dominant here.
That's a pretty amazing mascot, not going to lie.
Yeah, it is. It's big time. And then, like, everybody throughout the town, they have gorillas in their yard. So it's a big deal now.
Nice.
Well, feel free to send us some information when they're playing, and we can pump it out through our channels for the R&R. That's easy for us to do.
Okay, I'll definitely do that for sure.
Jody, we got one more question for you as far as before we get into our buy or sell, which is a little fun segment we do at the very end. But kind of it's a reflection question is, how have you seen MSU football change since your playing days and maybe as your time as a coach? And so what kind of changes are you seeing in the program right now?
I think it's obvious Coach Choate is doing a heck of a job with the program. When you turn on the film and you watch those guys, they're physical. That's the first thing that I noticed. And I think that's a staple of football. You got to be physical. They run the ball. I think, championship teams, you got to be able to run the ball and stop the run. So I think Coach Choate, he knows his identity that he wanted to come in and have. And he's definitely portraying that. He is dominant against the Grizzlies. So I know he's like a local legend in Bozeman, just because he's able to dominate those guys. And so I think it's a great brand of football. I mean, those guys are tough on defense. They don't give up big plays. They make you earn everything. They come down and hit you in the mouth. And then they do a good job of finding ways to run the football with, the wildcat and the tackle overs and the different things that they do. So it's a very unique brand of football, but I think it's good. And I'm very supportive of it. I think Coach is doing a great job.
Just a quick sidebar. Do you think it's a brand of football that can win a national championship?
I mean, it's similar to North Dakota State. I mean, honestly, I think his offense, it has a little bit more snaz than North Dakota State. I think North Dakota State, man, they line up and show you what they're gonna do, and they just out execute you doing that. But I definitely think they could win a national championship. I would like for that to happen, So I would say yes. I know Coach Choate is a heck of a special teams coach, and they do a good job on that phase as well. I think if they can score a few more points, be a little bit more explosive on the offensive side of the ball, that they'll definitely be there, being able to contend with those teams, being one of the last teams standing. I mean, I know Coach Ione, he'll have you dialed now. He's a big time coach, and like I said, I've been able to learn from him, through my time playing and coaching with him for really 3 years. And so I know that he's gonna put those guys in the best position to be successful. So all of that stuff is excellent on his side of the ball for sure.
Yeah, can't agree with that more. We're both pretty big fans currently of the job he's doing, and like you said, being 4-0 against the Grizz does not hurt that image.
Exactly, that helps. Never have to pay for a beer in Bozeman.
Nope.
So.
Yeah. All right, Jody, I got 4 buy or sell questions and we'll get you out of here. We appreciate just your time. I know it's late for you, but these are pretty fun. So how you play this game, if you're not familiar with it, all you got to do is say buy or sell, and then just give me your reason behind that statement. You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right.
Okay.
I'm just going to sit back. This Foley's driving. I'm just going to sit back and finish my drink.
Okay.
Jody, number 1, buy or sell. Your greatest honor as a Bobcat was being named team captain the senior year.
Buy. I think it's buy for me. Whenever your teammates vote you to lead the team, I mean, you have 100+ players on the team, and for them to say you are our guy, I mean, it shows a lot about who you are and what you're made of. So I think that's it right there. It's a beautiful thing.
All right. Nice. Thorny told me not to ask this one, but I'm going to. You don't have. It's a hard question. You don't have. You could plead the fifth on this one. Buy or sell.
Okay.
Everett Gilbert was a better receiver than Elvis Akpla.
Oh, that is tough, man. Both of them are my guys. Well, okay, I have to ask, which Everett Gilbert and which Elvis are you talking about? That's who I would have to ask, because Elvis in 2011, I don't think MSU has seen a receiver like that. But Everett, like his freshman and sophomore year, I mean, he was, just as good. So that's what I would have to ask before I buy or sell on either.
Let's just say peak Gilbert and peak Akpla, I guess.
Ooh. Yeah, it's close, but I would have to go Elvis, just because I never seen a receiver, take over the games like he was able to do just in 2011, man. He was making all kind of plays, the catches he was making on people's neck and everything else, putting it behind his back. So I have to go with Elvis on that, but it's close. And
Yeah.
and Everett's one of my groomsmen, so hopefully he doesn't hear this.
Right on, man. Thanks for answering that one.
No
Okay. Buy or sell number 3, playing in the snow.
I probably sell it, man. I'd rather play in the sunshine, but you got to do what you got to do. So, but I'll sell that one. I'd rather not. Cool.
I was wondering about that 2010 game in Missoula, but you kind of already talked about that. I was like, one of my questions I had coming into this was, I wonder if you felt the cold or if you were just above that during that time. But you said, no, you were pretty damn cold.
So, yeah, I was cold, man. And I know a lot of the guys, they wanted to wear no sleeves. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, I'm 2 and 3 layers. I got my hand warmers. I'm getting by the heater, the whole 9. Like, I am cold out here. Like, I don't have nothing to prove. But when the ball is snapped, I'll go hit somebody in the mouth, though. I can still do that. But I can't, just act like this cold doesn't exist, because it's there, fellas.
Well, if it's going to be cold, it's much better to be the one doing the hitting instead of the one getting hit.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. That's why I play defense.
All right, last question for you. And I know you spend time in both places, more in Texas, but this is a buy or sell. Buy or sell Texas barbecue over KC barbecue. Oh
man, that is tough, because I didn't realize how good Kansas City barbecue was until I did an internship with the Kansas City Chiefs. Mm-hmm. And I was brought some barbecue from one of the local places. And I mean, man, I think it's tough, but I'm a hometown guy. I have to go with Texas, but Kansas City is right there. It's right there. It is delicious now. They know what they're doing. I'm going with buy on Texas.
There you go.
Well, I'm up in Northwest Washington, so I'll take any barbecue over what I got up here.
I was up there for 2 years, so I get it.
Mm-hmm. Got some good seafood. Barbecue, not so much.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a huge seafood guy, but there were a couple spots that I like some chowder and all of that. I think that was good.
All right, Thorny, why don't you wrap it up for us, buddy?
Jody, you want to give us anywhere we can follow you, your Twitter handle, anything like that?
Oh yeah, I mean Bobcat Nation, please. I mean, you guys, I'm pretty open. I know I talk about a lot of stuff on my Twitter. I think I'll be a good follow. But yeah, you can follow me at PSU _ JAYO, the letter O H 23. So the 23 will never leave. So PSU _ JAYO OOH 23. Follow me.
All right, Bobcat Nation, give our guy here a follow. As usual, you can find us on Twitter, our CatCast, and like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, the normal stuff here. But I'm excited for this one. We end our episode, as always, with the Go Cats. I'd love to get a Go Cats from you.
Oh, that's easy, man. Go Cats. Let's go.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.